Hey guys, it's Reviews and More back with another quick tech review, and as always, if you enjoy this review or you find it helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps out the channel and me personally. So this is going to be a strange review for me because I already have a capture card. I have an Elgato HD60. It's a higher-end capture card used for streaming games, etc. I use it for my cameras, but for doing remote work and that kind of stuff, because I didn't want to have to buy a webcam, because webcams are kind of expensive right now. The market's kind of in flux because of COVID and everything else. But basically, this is a Chinese variant of a plug-and-play camera capture card, or in theory could also possibly work on a video game, maybe, just depending how you do things. But I would not recommend it for that, given the latency issues I'll discuss later on. Alright, now this card brand is called Cable Time. Now, that means virtually nothing. This is a very inexpensive Chinese capture card. The closest thing to like a major brand that this would be equivalent to is like an Elgato, what I believe is Camlink, something like that. I don't have one, but they used to sell for like 50, 60 bucks now, or up to 80, but now I think they're over 100 because of, again, the COVID stuff happening, everybody streaming or remote working. But this is an alternative to that, and it comes with some useful attachments, including that little HDMI connector. But overall, the quality's pretty low. What you're going to see in a moment, I couldn't effectively do a latency test very well, but I would say about a quarter-second latency. So if you're doing anything that involves where you want to make sure that your mouth and the video sync up, probably look elsewhere, but this will give you a good comparison. So this is from a brand called Cable Time, but again, this could be any number of Chinese brands out there, and they're all in that 18 to 25 up to top end at like $30 range. They all do the same thing. They act as a pass-through for your camera. So if you have a camera that you can't hook up directly with USB to your computer, like most digital SLRs are set up that way, it will basically let you connect it via HDMI, and boom, there you go. So if you look here, you might say, oh, that's not so bad, but that's with a digital SLR. It's the Canon SL3 with a good lens, an STM lens, so it does autofocus virtually silently. And we're just going to run through these cards real fast. One thing when you see the next portion of the video, which will be with using the Elgato capture card, which obviously more expensive, so it's not a fair comparison on price, but just get an idea of what you're looking at here, is a lot more true to reality color. So right here we got, bam, there we go. That's the same lighting, the same room, and everything. In a moment, you'll see the side-by-side, and in particular, what I want you to focus on, one is my face, because gorgeous. Not really. I avoided shaving on purpose because I wanted to make sure this thing was capturing like hair follicles, everything, because it's advertised as 1080p, and that's what it records at, so it does put out 1080p recording when you use it. But as far as just general quality, there's some color testing there just to get the red and blue. But when you look at the side-by-side in about 10 or so seconds, what you're going to see is my chair on the left. On the right-hand side, you'll see the SL3, the same video you're seeing now. And on the left-hand side, you'll see that Chinese camera capture card, the quote-unquote HD capture card. There is no color variation. So look at the right and left. So on the right, you see the Elgato using the same camera, and on the left, you see the Chinese $25 one. So it goes from jet black on the left-hand side with that cheap $25, and you can see variation in color with on the other side with the chair. Also, you can see that it's super saturated on the left-hand side, which some people like saturated looks, but the problem is that's the only thing you can ever do with it. You cannot adjust it later on below that. The right, more true to color. You don't have to worry about the difference being quite so profound. It will make a big difference if you're doing something like teleconferencing, where you really care about how people look and what they see, or possibly if you want to use this thing as a pass-through on a video game, simply because all your gaming stuff will look the wrong color, so you don't want to do that. Additionally, the latency issues with the $25 one were not terrible considering it's 25 bucks, but it was still about a quarter second. So you still had a pretty decent latency on there for certain purposes. So if you need this thing in a pinch, go for it. It makes perfect sense. If you're sitting there with a spare camera around your house and you're like, I am not going to pay 120 bucks for these overinflated webcam prices that are going on right now, and you're like, well, if I get this thing, I can avoid that. Go for it, absolutely. But as far as if you're trying to do this with any kind of professional standard, avoid it completely. If you wanted to be like a streamer or something, avoid it completely. Just pay for the higher priced item. The latency on it would be kind of detrimental to anyone who wants to stream with it. It would also be detrimental for anyone who wants to look somewhat, have like a human complexion on the camera. So again, those two tests were all in the same lighting. If you found the video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button. As always, it really helps me out, and have a great day, guys.